on you to doubt El Dandy.
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic.
This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like country muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got 2 is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, holding up the cup. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch. It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am your host, Lachlan Albert, and I am joined, as always, by the Podfather, Mr. Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing real good, and as sometimes happens on special occasions, we're joined all the way from Nowra by our friend Jamie Apps. Jamie, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad. Bit of a sniffly nose from the weekend, but I'm all good.
Good to hear that things are going okay. Look, the weather's turning. It's that time where everybody's feeling a bit sick. It's a special time of the year. In fact, it's the Road to the Rumble time, which normally we would say in January, but we're not talking about the Royal Rumble. We're talking about PWA. That's right. PWA's King of the Metro Rumble is coming up. So we are talking about the Road to the Rumble show that PWA put on the other weekend. And we love talking about shows like this. That's why you can get amongst it in the chat by coming along to twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, where we're live every Thursday night from 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and you can be part of the conversation. Tell us if you think we're right, if we're wrong. Get amongst the conversation with the show. Yeah, Todd?
Should we maybe change it to like 7:30-ish?
So approximately 7:30.
7:30-ish.
7:30 adjacent. That's right. So, yeah, and look, there's always lots to talk about, not just in Australian wrestling, but in wrestling around the world. So if you've got any thoughts, come be part of the conversation. We normally go for about 2 hours. So, hell, if it's 8 p.m., come join. We'll be live by then, I promise. Let's talk about PWA's Road to the Rumble. With the King of the Metro Rumble coming up, things are starting to take shape for the card. Going into this show, we knew that Jack Bonza would be entering at number 30 in the Rumble, but there are some more things to iron out before that big show, some title challenges to get on there. Plus, there are some people who need to show off who they are once again before that big Rumble show happens. So, PWA Road to the Rumble is... Todd, what's my favorite phrase?
No,
Say it.
I can't do it. Free on YouTube.
It's free on YouTube! Yay! Head on over to YouTube, search for PWA or Pro Wrestling Australia. You'll be able to find this Road to the Rumble show, along with a bunch of other shows that PWA have put up for free on YouTube that you can get amongst.
everything else I had was just way too dirty to say. I was like, no, can't say that. Nope, can't say that.
Trying to have a gag and it's just too much. Yep, love it. All right. Let's kick off talking about Road to the Rumble.
Hang on, before you do that, mate. Before you do that, you had last weekend up at Toowoomba. How was that show?
Sure did. It was a great show. I was really impressed with that show, especially with, you know, the amount of talent that were elsewhere. The fact that APW in Toowoomba put on a really cracking show. Every match exceeded my expectations. You know what I mean? Every match on paper looked like, oh, that'll be good. And then it was really enjoyable. I had the solo commentary job, which can be a bit of a strain as much as it is fun. But I was going out loud, and I had people in the ring and in the crowd hearing my nonsense and responding to it. And a coffin match in the main with Bobby Bishop. I actually got to interview Bobby Bishop after that one, so hopefully we can get that up live very soon. Todd, this weekend you were at Fight for Life at UPW, right?
That I can remember, yes. I got fairly beaten up.
I did see clips.
So you get slapped a few times.
Yes, by radio people. Like, I mean, I must admit, I did walk past, and when I said, what are you doing on radio? It's a dead medium. You should be getting onto podcasting. So maybe I had it coming a little bit. I don't know. But no, it was a really good night. It was like,
he's right.
I think it was like near on 500 people there. They raised a couple of grand for
that's fantastic.
Cancer research, which is really good. Which is one of the reasons why that's been one of my bucket list shows to be a part of, because it helps. I like to help. So, but the match between Mitch and Jesse was really good too. So they had again.
Oh, really?
As expected.
Jesse Love and Mitch Ryder had a 2 out of 3 falls match that was good? No way.
Yeah. What did you do, Jamie, on the weekend, my friend?
I went to Dubbo with my brother to see his daughter. That was
fun.
Okay.
Dubbo!
Hey, Taronga Zoo, mate.
Now, the Dubbo show was on, so we got to actually do something and watch some wood chopping.
Oh, I like a bit of wood chopping.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
And Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges has a comment for you there, Todd. Wrestling shows for legit charitable causes and not for your mates in wrestling? Say it isn't so, Todd.
The ironic thing is, and I was telling the boys off air, is that I heard today they were talking about Cannonball's issues, and that the GoFundMe that Turnbuckle, of course, put up on their socials, and go and follow it and do donate if you can. But they're also talking that like Mark Cuban had already donated $10,000 to it and all of that. I'm like, well, the guy is going to be okay. Like, yeah, but yeah, please do go and donate to him. Like, so it goes directly to him through a GoFundMe. Please, if you've got the money.
It's an excuse to have a show. Anyway, we can talk more about that later. Maddie Huss wants to know if your niece went over, Jamie.
Yes, I'm 6, so she won.
Yeah, always the way. So, look, let's talk about PWA's Road to the Rumble. That's what we've named this episode of the show. We might as well have a look at it. So, opening this show was Jessica Troy and Melissa Avarillo in a match that went just under 7 minutes, with Jessica Troy, maybe unsurprisingly, getting the win as the recent former PWA champion. I did enjoy this match, but the feeling that I had the whole time was, whenever Melissa Avarillo was looking really competitive, it made me think that should put her in line for something big. Just being competitive against Jessica Troy, who completely soloed Coliseum last year, held that PWA title for a long time, undefeated against basically everyone. Like, we made the comments about Super Troy last year, and it feels like, and this is not a shot at Melissa Avarillo, who looked fantastic, I thought. And I thought the match was put together in a really interesting way. But I wanted this victory for Troy just personally to be really dominant and reinforce the kind of run that she's been on. Whereas her being on that monster run and then having a competitive match against someone without a lot of experience just didn't quite mesh for me as much as I enjoyed the match on a wrestling match level. Jamie, what did you think?
I can see where you're coming from. I think what kind of plays into that, like why this match worked, is Jess went away from her usual game plan of like technical wrestling. She was trying to outstrike Mel, who is almost twice as tall as Jess. So like, I think that kind of made sense in that Jess was just like angry. She wasn't actually wrestling smart. So that's why Mel was able to hold her ground. And I thought Mel looked great. She's come a long way since the first dark match I saw her in. So I'm excited to see her progress more over the next year or two.
Yeah, and obviously when you get in the ring with someone like Jess, that's great experience in terms of responding to a live crowd with someone who knows what they're doing. Todd, what did you think of this opener?
Yeah, I kind of look like, to take your point, Locke, maybe it's the fact that yeah, she lost that big match, so now she's a little down. So now she's not quite herself. So maybe for once, going into this Rumble, she looks a little vulnerable. Not so much that Melissa was really good. Maybe she should be in line for something else, because, to be honest with you, it's way too early for her to be that.
I fully agree.
In anything. But like, I thought it was booked smartly because they gave Melissa like enough things to make her look like she's got some potential coming through, but not enough to expose her for being as raw, as green as what she is at the moment. But yeah, I just thought it was a nice, clean, short, sharp, shiny opener, to be honest with you. And like, it's Jess Troy, so Jess took really good care of her.
Yeah. Like, that was really me trying to be picky. It's hard to have comments about a Jessica Troy match that isn't just, yeah, it's Jessica Troy. It's
Jess is good.
You know what I mean? Yeah, obviously Jess is good. We know Jess is good. Every time we talk about PWA, we get to say Jessica Troy is a good professional wrestler, right? So, like, obviously. Moving on from that, a really hard-hitting match after Jessica Troy tried to play into the striking game. We saw what the big boys look like doing it. Jack J. Bonza, EC Brownie, stakes put on the line before the match. If Jack J. Bonza won, EC Brownie had to join the, Redheads Against Negative something. It's Ranger. It's called Ranger, is the group. And you're not supposed to say Ranger, but it's called Ranger.
You can say it. You're allowed to say it. I can't say it, but you can say it.
There's a little bit of copper in there.
I can't say it, but you can say it.
And if EC Brownie won, then Jack J. Bonza was going to give up his number 30 spot in the Rumble to EC Brownie. But in just over 10 minutes, Bonza managed to get the win here after Bonza acknowledged that these guys had a few matches recently, but I think there's a reason for it. They're two big, beefy dudes who run full pelt at each other, and it goes boom. I think that when you're putting on a show like a Road to the Rumble show, where it's not, this massive high-stakes thing, having a match where you've got two reliable big guys who are going to hit each other hard is going to work for the crowd. I think that it's smart booking to have a match like this that you can fall back on. Todd?
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that Brownie is in that group now, because it gives Bonza someone who can actually like wrestle, aside from like who I can't remember what the guy's name is his sort of like partner in it. Digby, sorry. Who can wrestle, but let's face it, he's not a wrestler.
And he's not technically available either.
Exactly. So now you got a guy who's a big, like, someone who looks bigger than Bonza, which is always a bonus when you're doing that sort of a group.
Rarefied air, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, it was a good, like, hard-hitting match. But I don't know about you guys, but that ending felt like they hit their time limit and Bonza's gone, oh, fuck, I have to finish this. Pile driver.
Yeah. Hit the Napalm Thunder driver. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. It just felt like, because I just sort of like, I watched it and then, like, ooh, that was kind of abrupt.
Yep.
So, but aside from that, like, I love big, meaty men bumping meat. So that's what this match was. The two guys that don't hold back. and nothing looked soft. Everything looked laid in, nice and snug. So that's the kind of match I enjoy. So I enjoyed this match.
Jamie?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one as well. Yeah, classic meat match. I thought it was a nice little touch to have referee Rach for this match, especially with Bonza's quota promo before the match. It was like, they've put us all in here because they need to get the redheads into the show. So I thought that was a nice little touch. The one thing I didn't enjoy about this match was some of the commentary. Like, I'm as anti-Trump as the next person, but there was way too many political comments in this match and then throughout the show as well. I was like, okay, can we lay off that a little bit?
Yeah, I really like Chris Gale's commentary most of the time, but like, I think there were points in this show where it was really strong, and there were points where it was not as strong. And you can tell that when Gale's working with someone who is not Rosie, that there's that moment of like establishing what the chemistry is like. And it just shows that when you've got a team that works really well together and is established, the flow is really easy. Whereas when you're putting a new team together, sometimes they do have to work out what those lines are and how far they're going to push each other on certain things. I will have a bit of a criticism about this match, and that is there's a comedy spot in there that I quite liked, but I don't know that this match was the spot for it. So what I thought was a really clever little spot where Bonza got Ref Rach in like almost a backslide position with the arms locked and then turned around so that she couldn't see, so that he could kick Brownie in the nuts. Brownie caught it, spun him around, repositioned so that Ref Rach was in a pedigree position, and then lifted her up and dropped her so that effectively the ref pedigreed Bonza. Right? It's a fun, goofy little spot. I don't know that the big meaty men slap and meat match is the match to have it in. I know that obviously, like the three of them, including Ref Rach, trust each other. It's a fudge match spot, exactly. And there's other matches on this card where I think it would have worked better. In the North Shore Wrestling match, it would have worked better. In the Anomaly match, it would have worked better. Like, I think it's a really clever spot, and I'm sure that, you know, someone involved in this match came up with it and was really proud of it. But I think it would have served the show better and served this match better if that had been suggested to someone else rather than taken for this match. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Yeah. Moving on, though, to another match where I think a little bit of goofiness would have gone okay. Cosmo Cooper managing to get the win over Nikki Van Blair, who I think in terms of crowd interaction, Nikki Van Blair is an absolute highlight. She just, every time, is able to get the response from the crowd that she's looking for, right? And if that involves taking what they're giving her and turning it to get what she needs, she'll do it. I think that has been a real talent for Nikki. Jamie, what's your thoughts on Cosmo Cooper getting the win in this one?
I think it's probably the right choice because, like, we're establishing Nikki as more of the tag team with Frankie. So when Nikki's alone, to come up short kind of makes a bit more sense. And Cosmo's in phenomenal shape at the moment. So
God, he looked good.
Looks great. The match overall was like very WWE entertainment style with kind of some Taguchi inspiration sprinkled in there as well.
Yep, there's a pull. You're absolutely right. Todd?
Yeah, I enjoy the Cosmo. I was thinking about this today at work, and I like the fact that they've made, like, that PWA have made some of their factions and their teams strong enough now that you can add someone to it, and then when you see that come out on their Tron, you instantly go, okay, this guy's a made guy. Because, like, I see that logo come out in Ultra, and I think Cosmo, like, wow, okay, they've really accepted him now. He's part of the group. There must be a real good reason why you would put him in that group, because both the other two guys in it are really good workers. So by extension, you're already putting that guy in that category, which I think is something that PWA do really well. Yeah, I think Cosmo Cosmo's got a big upside to him. Like great shape, moves really well, can do a bit of the comedy, but can also do that high fly, really that cool shit that you like to see. And Nikki played off really well with it. She's like a good base for him for a lot of her stuff, but then also a lot of her character stuff was good as well. So yeah, I didn't mind this match.
I feel like they're kind of shaping Cosmo up to maybe be just like a future challenger for Robbie, like probably not to topple Robbie, just to add to that streak of wins for Robbie before potentially facing Despy, which he's kind of teased at Best of the Super Juniors.
Yeah, well, I noticed you notice that Rumble show has both MK Plus Ultra against champions. Because you got Spencer against Robbie, and then you also got Kai
against
Chevs.
Charlie Evans. Yeah,
which is it didn't really click till the end. I'm like, oh, they're doing both the tag teams, but aren't the three of them still in that tag team trios?
Yeah, they're still in the Premiership, I believe.
So yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. Like, I think Cosmo's got a lot of upside, and being with those two is just going to help their growth more. I did like the fact too that there wasn't any of that other group there. So like, Nikki's second.
It was a one-on-one.
Exactly.
Yeah, let them both shine.
But then it also, plays into the premiership of it because, both teams that are in that initial PWA Premiership bracket, so you've got the storylines going forward there. Yeah, I think it was cleverly done. Speaking of the PWA Premiership, a round one matchup had North Shore Wrestling in the form of Jack Osborne, Sam Osborne, and Will Keatis defeating, I think, a bit of a thrown-together team of El Phoenician, McCabe, and Rita Stone. I'm going to let you take the heat on this one to begin with, Todd. What did you think of this?
Oh, thanks, bro. My first thought was, like, get El Phoenician a mask. Get him a mask. So then when they want to, when his character's grown enough, he can demask and do whatever gimmick he kind of wants to do. It just, like, as soon as I heard that, like, that was his name, and then he came out just like a normal dude, I'm just like, oh, okay. Fair enough. I don't like, and I don't know if I'll catch heat over this. I don't like that they bumped Jack Osborne at all. I told you boys off air, like if that was me, I would have like, okay, Jack comes in, hits people with his finish, and that's it. That's all he does all match. I want him to be that guy that's standing on the lawn that when Homer goes into the house goes, the guy's standing there. He hasn't done anything yet.
He's gonna do something cool.
Yeah, that's how I see Jack. That's how I see Jack. So when he gets in there, he just like destroys. I think as a really established team, that I think North Shore really should have ran through these guys a lot quicker than 16 minutes. Like as good as like Rita's good. Don't get me wrong, Rita's good, but this is your lead heel team in that company. They are, for all intents and purposes, your NWO, your Four Horsemen, your big bads. Yeah, they should just be destroying people.
They're the backup for the top heel champion.
Exactly. So they should just be destroying people. So,
yeah, like as you mentioned, Bloody DJ said Rita Stone is a force of nature. And Rita Stone looked fantastic in this match. I think really clearly a lot of this match was designed around making Rita look like $1 million. And she did. But I don't know that the match as a whole held together in a way that makes sense for these 6 people.
Yes, I agree.
Jamie?
Yeah, I agree. I think the only way this match would have made sense with how long it went and how even it was is if we took out El Phoenician or Malik McCabe and put Braxton in, so that it was actually CBK in the trios tournament with like a third. And then it would have made a bit more sense that it was like Rita and Braxton, they can kind of hold their own against this trio, but this thrown together team was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, you made
Yeah.
Rita look great, but I don't think you made North Shore Wrestling look amazing.
And that's not a shot at El Phoenician or Malik McCabe, right? Like,
No.
they did everything that they needed to do. It's just that in terms of the storyline that the company is running with at the moment, where North Shore Wrestling are the people that are going to beat the tar out of guys so that they can't beat the champion, Chevs. And Jack Osborne is this massive dude who just debuted, who, you know, goes one-on-one with Ricky South immediately. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense for them to have to take 16 minutes to get the win over a team that, as far as I know, has never teamed before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like
the North Shore at all.
Yeah. It felt like it was a 50-50 match where it should have been like an 80-20.
Yeah.
Like, there was no real point there where, like, North Shore Wrestling cut the ring off and just punished someone.
Mm.
And really put over that they are bad motherfuckers. That was
And that's the thing,
point
right,
in
is that,
match.
like, Jack Osborne is new and still has that new toy shine, right? Where you don't want him to be taking bumps, to be looking bad, because the whole point is that he's this guy that nobody knows how to deal with yet. Osborne and Kiedis are both phenomenal workers who the crowd hates immediately when they come out, right? Take advantage of that. Make this a match where Sam Osborne and Kiedis are just jaw-jacking with the crowd the whole time. And then as soon as they get into a little bit of trouble because they're too cocky, they tag in Jack and he just comes in and wrecks shop and then tags back out and leaves. Like, I think you can still make, you know, Rita look like somebody who is full of guts and fighting for her life and managing to get lucky shots in and, you know, survive an assault without this being a 16-minute long back and forth.
Yeah,
right?
Like, I don't think Jack should have left his feet.
Yeah.
That show. Not once.
I fully expect North Shore to win the premiership, but after this match, it's kind of like, are they though?
Yeah, and if they do win the premiership, like, how believable is that, knowing that this is what their first round matchup looked like? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Rita would have been better showcased elsewhere, but I also understand that when you're trying to put trios together, like, there's only so many natural trios that you've got, and you want to fill out a show and you want to get Jack Osborne some ring time, and I understand all those things. I just don't know that this was the way to go about it, right? Anyway, let's move on to a match that I'm much more positive about. Ben Braxton defeating Ricky South. Once again, we got a couple of big boys who know what they're doing, going one-on-one. Ben Braxton getting the win here, I think, was absolutely the right call, right? He is the dude on the rise who we've been saying for a while, are they waiting too long on Ben Braxton? But now they've got, whether it's the Rumble or Coliseum, the next few months feel like the moment to pull the trigger on Braxton. I'm at the point now where if it doesn't happen in this next 3 to 6 months, they've missed the shot, I think. I think it has to happen now. And the way that they are booking Braxton looks like they know that. Right? So he's right now the guy climbing the mountain. Ricky South is one of the best gatekeepers Australian wrestling has. Braxton beat South. Good stuff. Todd?
Yeah, this is the match that should have went for 15, 16 minutes. And this one should have been the main event.
Yep. Fully agree.
Because you got your former PWA champion in Ricky South, who had a very, very strong run against a guy who everybody in PWA should be looking at as the next guy. You know what I mean? So I understand it was like there were stakes in what the main event was, but these are the two that, put it this way, when we looked at the card, these are the two that would sell me my ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But they have
a
not
couple of
just
cool matches, but I want to see Braxton and South.
To make it a main
Well,
event?
that's what I was thinking, but I was like, I don't know what stakes you put on it. Like, loser becomes number one, but didn't they do that with the...
Tuckman's already number one. Bonds is 30, so...
Yeah. So that all that stuff's already been decided.
Yeah.
And you can't just throw out hey, if this guy wins it, he can pick a title shot at any time. Because you just can't just throw that shit out there. So I really don't know. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I don't know what you put on there, stakes-wise. But you don't have to sometimes. Those two guys, you don't have to.
Well, given
Ricky South and Ben Braxton.
Given like Ricky's announcement on Instagram last night, we could have had a loser leaves PWA.
Yeah, but the problem with that is I don't think he's going anywhere.
Like it seems like he's going to like periodically come back, right?
Yeah. From what I can understand, that he will still be making frequent trips back to Australia to wrestle.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
well, maybe they could have just had he's like banned from the Rumble or something.
Yeah. But then, do you want him to be banned? Like, if he might be booked for it,
they probably.
Do you really want to? Yeah, you want a hand like him there.
Yeah, like that's one guy you don't want banned from the Rumble.
Yeah.
It was a tough
plenty of other people I can think of. But these two put a really good match on. It's a really good match. Like, it was too short. Put it that way. That was my biggest complaint about this match. It only went 10 minutes.
Yep, I'm fully with you, Jamie.
Yeah, I thought this was the match of the night. Great momentum builder for Braxton. Yeah, because it was so long, they left plenty sort of in the locker that they can maybe revisit for a future encounter. But yeah, if they're not, like if Braxton's going to end up being the next in line for the title, is he going to come back to Ricky at any point in the near future? So they might as well have just gone all out now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, really good match.
Anyway.
Like I said,
too short. Fully agree. Then on to a match that this following, and this is not a shot at the match, when this followed Braxton and South, I was confused. I'm like, is there like something I missed that's in the main event that we're going to need a breather for? Because like Braxton and South blew the roof off the place, and then it just felt like on paper, this was not what I expect to follow that. But I did enjoy it. Marcus Cool defeating The Anomaly. I haven't seen The Anomaly before. Before I say anything else, I hate The Anomaly as a name. That's not a person's name. No one's called that. Get a name. That's something that I have told wrestlers up here in Queensland. Get a name. You're a human. Have a human name. Like one of my favorite, and you know, this is just a cold shot, but like sometimes I'll be at a show and someone will come out and I just yell, "Your mother named you that?" You know what I mean? Your mother didn't call you The Anomaly. What's your name? Anyway,
your mother named you Renegade?
Yeah, exactly. Who names a kid Genghis Kong? Like, are you kidding me? Like that.
I'll get a message over that one. 100% get a message over that one.
Oh, that was the one that I was talking to. I've told him.
I know, that's why I called it out.
We've had this.
I've been telling him for fucking 6 years.
Yeah. Now, Christina Cade, there's a name. All right.
That's a name.
Marcus
Cool.
You
can hang your hat on. You can set your watch to that name.
Marcus Cool defeating The Anomaly here. I thought The Anomaly looked really good, really interesting. You know, definitely had a style that was not just a straight up and down wrestling style, while also not being out there enough that it made you go, what am I watching? I think that the moveset there was really good. Marcus Cool always delivers. He's one of those guys who you see his name on a match and you're like, okay, this is going to be a good match. And that's always been the way with the Hooligan. I think it's a great gimmick. I do think it's interesting that it ended up being Marcus Cool straight into the Pillars of Majesty as like, hope you're ready to boo some Englishmen. I think that was a really interesting way to line that up. But no, I think that Marcus Cool getting the win here was probably the call because The Anomaly is still fairly fresh. But there was enough respect coming from Marcus Cool in that win that it didn't take away from what happened in the match while also showing that The Anomaly's got some future in him. Jamie?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this match. Good first impression for The Anomaly. I think if he's going to keep that name, The Anomaly, and with the entrance video that he has and stuff, maybe just lean into the like horror, dark presentation, not so much the funny, like, rah, 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 goofy characters.
Funnily enough,
just be
the Anomaly
like
looks
an Undertaker monster.
Yeah, the Anomaly looks more like WCW Renegade than actual Renegade does.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, Marcus Cool's amazing. I literally, when he came out, because I hadn't looked at what the card was before, I think the first thing is, what the fuck's he doing here?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it was like, for me, it was like this felt like a house show.
Hmm.
So I'm like, what do they got Marcus here for this show? Okay, fair enough. But I'll be honest, I don't get the Anomaly. I don't get it. It's, yeah. He just kept doing, sometimes he'd do stuff that like, well, that didn't make sense. Why did you do that? Because you just tried that and it didn't work 5 seconds ago. So I don't know why you tried that again. So I think there was a combination of things with me. I'm just like, I just don't get this. I don't get this worker.
I'll actually push back on that because it is a flavors of ice cream, but I will push back that I think there was an interesting storytelling element there with what you're talking about. The Anomaly went for the Swanton, missed it, and that led to a good, period of Marcus Cool being on top. And then the Anomaly at the end of the match went for the Swanton again, and Cool got the knees up. I like the storytelling element of the Anomaly knows that this is... It feels so bad saying that as a name when I'm talking about a match. The Anomaly knows that if they can hit the Swanton, it's going to be the match. It's going to lock it down. But Cool is the wily enough experienced vet to go, if he hits that, I'm down and out. I have to be ready for it and have the counter in the bag. I don't mind that storytelling part of it. I think there was some more interesting things the Anomaly did that didn't quite land for me, but the going back to things that didn't work, I don't hate.
Okay. It was just one for me to it was on top of a lot of other things, but I'm just like, that's the one that stood out. That was easy for me to sort of point out.
I get what you're saying.
But yeah, Cool is amazing. He's so good. I just don't get the Anomaly, which is, again, flavors of ice cream. Other people might love it. I'm not a massive fan of it.
Yeah, and that's fine, David Fort in the chat suggests Anatoly the Anomaly. That's good stuff.
Trying to kill
let's then move on to the... Yeah. I can't imagine trying to call that. The main event of this one with PWA Tag Team title #1 contendership on the line. The Velocities, Jude London and Paris De Silva, taking on the Pillars of Majesty, Hari Singh and Tony Sin. Two guys who, when you team and you have such similar last names, that's hell on commentators. Look, as soon as I mentioned the Velocities, it got a cheer from someone sitting over there in this room. The Velocities are just such easy baby faces who get over every time they step in the ring. They always look good. It's like we were saying with, a few of these other people. On this podcast, there's only so many times we can say the Velocities are good professional wrestlers. They are great tag team wrestlers. They put on great tag team matches. I think that with the #1 contendership on the line, 14 minutes is about right for this length. I don't know that the Pillars of Majesty are a team that I have seen compete at this level before, so there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance for me there, with suddenly the Pillars of Majesty are the type of team to push the Velocities almost to their limits. I don't know that 100% matches up for me with what I've seen the Velocities do, similar to the Jessica Troy conversation I was having earlier. But I think they're really easy heels, right? They come out, they've got British accents, they're full of themselves, they tell the crowd that they're going to fix them. And then the Velocities come out and they're little flippy, cute boys who do finger guns. They go, woohoo! And then they pick on people for being bald. It's so easy to get a crowd on side with that. I do want to shout out that after the crowd was chanting, "Where's your hair at?" Chris Gale had the commentary moment of the night, calling to Basement Jacks. So well done, Chris. I thought that this match was just fun. It showed how damn good the Velocities are. Pillars of Majesty did everything that they needed to do. This is how you have a tag team match at the top of the card. Jamie?
Yeah, I think this was a great one for the Pillars of Majesty in particular really made them look like a legitimate team in the PWA system of, okay, these guys they're not ready yet, but they're going to be ready for sort of the title contendership soon. Yeah, the velocities are great, but it was another one of those ones where I'm like, okay, the velocities are cool. I just don't have an emotional connection for this particular match. It was kind of like, it was good.
Is it the same as what we talked about before? They just need a refresh?
Yep. Yeah, it was just kind of like, okay, it's a velocities match. It's going to be good.
But I agree with everything you're saying there. I feel like for this show, that was all it needed to be, in my opinion. And like, I'm happy. I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, there does come a point where a velocities match is just a velocities match again. But I think for, like you were saying, Todd, this feels like a house show. So when you've got a show like this, I think having a main event where you've got the velocities is exactly the kind of thing you need to get a crowd that, and again, I don't know exactly how this was advertised, what kind of crowd this had, but my instinct is this is the kind of crowd that you are convincing to come to the Rumble, right? It's a cheaper show that the punters are showing up to go, oh, the wrestling, I'll give that a watch. And when that happens, you want the velocities beating the grumpy guys with the British accents. So they go, that was a bit of fun. We should go to the next one, and then be invested and go from there. I don't disagree that this was maybe not the most exciting velocities match because the stakes felt like obviously the velocities were going to be the number one contenders and not the Pillars of Majesty unless they were doing something really strange. So it didn't quite feel fresh in that way, but I thought it was a good match. David Fort's asking, didn't the velocities tease a breakup somewhat recently? And they did, and they had matches against each other, and then they're back together. It really felt like that storyline was kind of interrupted by them having a New Japan run where they couldn't be hating each other.
Yeah, they teased a breakup, and then New Japan said no, and they went, oh, okay then.
Yeah. Todd, what did you think of this as the main?
Can I do a little bit of like fantasy booking? Because we've already talked what the match was like. The match was a velocities match. It was really good because of the velocities. But can I like get the pen out here?
Get the pen.
We talked about this earlier. I would have put Ben Braxton and Ricky South in the main event. Yep. I would have put these guys before like an intermission. Mm-hmm. But I would have put Pillars of Majesty over with Marcus Cool helping them. Because what you've got, right? Because now we're going to the Rumble, and you've got the Velocities taking on the Backslide Girls, right? So it's basically babyface versus babyface.
Yep.
So that's not really a good strong defense for the babyfaces. Whereas if you've got Pillars of Majesty in there for the tag team titles, no one really expects the Pillars of Majesty to kind of win the thing, but everyone's going to be going for the Backslide Girls to beat them.
That's true.
I just think it's
unless
an easier story to tell.
That refresh that we spoke about last PWA show and are going to turn them.
I just don't know how you do that.
I don't think you can turn them against the backslides either.
Yeah.
I don't think the backslides are loved enough to get the Velocities over as a bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They kind of need that match against Pillars of Majesty to get a bit of like all right, we like the Backslide Girls. We're on the fence about the Backslide Girls, but we really think that these Pillars of Majesties are dickheads. So we're gonna support Backslide.
I also wonder if it's different in the room, right? So like, are the Backslide Girls getting a lot more love than we're feeling through the screen? Because if that's the case, if it is really getting, huge pops in there when they come out, then maybe Velocity's Backslide's face versus face feels massive for the Rumble show.
You see that look?
I'm trying to think. The last PWA show I went to, they didn't get like.
Okay,
I think that can be the answer. Probably more.
The problem is, mate, the Velocities are PWA.
Yeah.
They're baked into the product. So nobody's really going to come along and out babyface them. Really.
No, look, my instinct here is that there's a couple of options that they could be looking down the barrel of. It could be that they're looking to move the titles off the Backslide Girls, potentially due to only having 2/3 of them there with Kingsley in Canada. So do they look to get them, continue all the plans that they've got, but with another babyface team, and just slot the Velocities into the plans? Because I can see it being, a North Shore Wrestling feud coming up, and they just want to make sure that they've got the strong babyface team to do that. On the other hand, they really want to make sure that the Backslide Girls are looking like a top shelf tag team, and beating the Pillars of Majesty is good, but beating the Velocities is huge, and that's what's going to give them that momentum going forward. Because I feel like you're absolutely right. Having the Backslide Girls beat Pillars of Majesty, you get a better reaction on the night. It's really easy to boo the Poms. It's really easy to cheer the Backslide Girls against them. Does that help them long term as much as getting one over on the Velocities and saying, we are as good as we are, where, we deserve to have these titles?
You know what, though? At the end of the day, people don't remember who they beat so much as like how long they've had the title.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
My wonder also is if the Velocities have a Super Junior Tag League return this year, maybe they're thinking, let's
carry some belts
on them, have them send those over like they've done with Robbie the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's like, and also like to against your point, Locke, that like, yeah, they get the win over the Velocities on a like Rumble show that people aren't going to be focusing on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, there's so much other stuff going on that show that really is like
the other two title matches are probably going to be more talked about than the tag titles. And then those two matches are even going to get outshadowed by the Rumble.
I guess the thing that's in my head is that as big as the Rumble feels, much like in WWE, the Rumble is a couple of months before Coliseum, right? And that's the big weekend show that it feels like PWA builds towards. Is there something that they're building towards on Coliseum that would justify what they're doing with this? You know what I mean? Like, because it wouldn't surprise me if they've got a big tag team on the way in for the Coliseum, so they want to have them in a tag title match, and they want them against Velocities, so the pieces fit there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but tag teams aren't really the point of
the draw for that weekend.
Yeah, the draw for the weekend are the other people that they bring in for the tournament, not like a tag team that will have a tag team match during that weekend.
Which I would love to talk about in a moment. So let's make a couple of Coliseum calls because we're getting to that time. But before we do, let's wrap up this show. Look, this was across the board. There was ups and downs on this show for sure. But once again, there are so many straight positives here. Braxton and South was unreal. Anytime you get to see Jessica Troy wrestle, anytime you get to see the Velocities wrestle, you're in for a treat. Like Bonza and Brownie were two big meaty men slapping me. There's so much good stuff on this card, and for it to be free on YouTube, take your drink, Matty Huss, I think is unreal. It is absolutely worth checking out. A couple of hours of wrestling for free on a weeknight. Why not? Type PWA into YouTube, check out what they've got up there, because I also think, and we were just saying this, part of the reason that we're really picky about PWA is the quality that they've got. This is not just one of the best promotions in the country. I genuinely think when they're at their best, they're one of the best promotions in the world, bar none. We've, seen the Coliseums and the Rumbles and the all sorts of stuff that they've had in the past have been genuinely world class. So the fact that you're getting their shows for free on YouTube is just unreal. And hopefully a lot of the stuff we saw here translates into some really exciting stuff for the Rumble and for Coliseum. Now, speaking of Coliseum, because it's a big show and it's coming up in a few months, obviously it tends to have the title match with the winner of the Rumble versus the PWA Heavyweight Champion. And then there's the big 8-person Coliseum tournament. So first of all, let's make a quick prediction for the Rumble. We know Tuckman is at number 1. We know that number 30 is Bonza. The championship is going to be on the line on the Rumble between Kai Drake and Charlie Evans. So let's start with that. Drake, Evans, who walks out with the title? Jamie?
Chevs.
Todd?
I mean, if Chevs doesn't, then...
If Chevs loses, there's something wrong.
I'm making it seem like a question.
On the way to hit the earth, yeah.
Yeah. It's... And I'm so glad to see Kai Drake in a title picture on the big show, getting a one-on-one match for that title. Like, absolutely deserved. That guy is right in that spot, right? But,
yes.
Yeah.
His promo on this show was great, too.
Fantastic stuff, right? He is really showing that he's a main eventer for a reason. But yeah, so Sheb's walking out with the title. Tag team titles, Velocities and Backslide Girls. Let's make a call now. Jamie, which way do you see it going?
I'm going to throw the Velocities out there. I think, like you said, I think they're going to just shift the stories and maybe push Shay towards Robbie for a bit.
Interesting. Todd?
Yeah, I don't mind that call. I like the idea of like Shay towards Robbie for a bit because I don't know how available Connor is. I'm not sure. I don't. Like,
yeah, good question with Everett Connors. Yeah,
because you don't really see him on like other cards that much.
That's true.
Like Shay's on everything, but you don't really see him on.
Shay's working her butt off at the moment.
Yeah, but you don't really see
like heaps. Chuck her in there with Robbie. She's going to just go even higher really quickly.
100%.
All right, I am going to take the other side.
I can see them doing it. But on the other side, and I can see why they're doing it. Like Jamie said, if they're going to New Japan, I can see that's why they're doing it. I just kind of find it a boring choice at this point.
Mm-hmm.
When even though I know Ricky's going to Canada and all of that, you could have had it on the regime.
Yeah. All right. I am going to call the Backslide Girls to retain and get a big win over the Velocities, and maybe that's an impetus to turn the Velocities heel. That's my call there. Then let's talk about the Rumble. Who do we have winning the Rumble, Jamie?
I'm going to say Tuckman runs the field, goes from 1 to the win.
Yep. Todd?
Yeah, I say that because you can't really have Ben win the Rumble because that takes him out of Coliseum.
Yeah,
correct.
I think Braxton ends up being...
The story is Coliseum.
I think Braxton ends up being the last person tossed out like he was last year. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I've failed 2 years in a row in this Rumble spot being the last person thrown out. Right, put me in this tournament. I need to be in this tournament. This is my last chance.
The voice of Rose has arrived, and he has proclaimed King Fudge for the win. Man,
he's good at Rumbles.
Like it. He's good at Rumbles. He's good at them. I wish that had been the big story for the Ricky South run where Fudge had won the Rumble. That would have been the dream. Yeah, I also had Tuckman down as my winner for the Rumble because exactly the same reason. You've got to have Braxton win Coliseum. It's got to be scratching and clawing to get that sword. So then let's have this conversation. I know that it's a little while out. Other than Braxton, who are some names that you would personally put in Coliseum? Because I've got... And another great call, James Graham for the win. Big calls from Rose coming in here.
You notice it's all people of a certain hair type. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Someone who's edging his way for a spokesman role for Bonds' new group, I think. I was
going to say, there's a group that can use a voice.
All right, Jamie, who are you calling for Coliseum this year? Who do you reckon's been noticed?
I dare. Do something about it.
That's hard. I don't know who. Robbie Thorpe will probably be back in it after a great showing last year. Taylor King, maybe? He's been doing some stuff in Perth and hasn't really had an opportunity on the East Coast for a while.
Todd, I'll pass to you. Any Coliseum calls?
I would like to be my boy Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch would be a great choice, and Dusk's another good choice there by Rose.
Dusk's a great. But speaking completely like biasedly as I am, I've never seen Mitch in better shape, putting on better matches than what I have these past couple of months. So, like his tour of Japan, comes back, has a match with Robbie, blows the doors off with that match as well. I think he's put himself in the best position to be able to possibly get that shot. If it happens, who doesn't, it doesn't, but...
I've got some predictions. I think, unfortunately, there's only space for one Queenslander in the tournament. There's only 8 spots, and Mitch would be an incredible pick, and I've been saying that for years, but so would Bobby Bishop, and I feel like that might be the lean for a Queensland spot this year, have undeniable Bobby Bishop in the tournament. I think, just talking PWA... Let's leave Trent out of this. Let's talk about PWA people. Ben Braxton's the lock. I think Shea Cassidy would be amazing in the tournament. I would love to see Sam Osborne have another go at it. But I also think Michael Spencer would have a great showing in the tournament. Someone who we've talked about how good MK Plus Ultra is, and, you know, Kai Drake getting the opportunity to show out. I think it would be really cool to see Michael Spencer have an opportunity to really, you know, show up exactly how good he is in that tournament. Other interstaters, I would love to see Mickey Fortune in Coliseum. I think that would be an unreal pick. We were just talking about how good she is, seeing her travel interstate more. I think that would be amazing. And I think there's...
South Australian representative.
Yep. And I think that often there's a spot for someone from interstate who is just like, in terms of Australian names, just top of the food chain. I think Damian Slater would fit that spot. I think that would be an awesome include this year that fits, you know, where he's at in his career. And Future Shock in the chat saying, it's my year, boys. He's coming in. Let's see it.
He's in great shape.
Hashtag Gothic Greg for Coliseum. What some picks we've got here. I'm also just going to make one dark horse call that there's no way that this happens. This is a 0.00001% chance, but I've got to put it out into the universe. Michael Oku for Coliseum. I've said it. I now don't have to talk about it again, but that's the dream for me. You know, there's been some special people. We've had our Orange Cassidys and we've had our Zack Sabre Juniors. Michael Oku for Coliseum. There we go.
Big Fuge.
Anyway, Big Fuge, you think? The problem is there's not many spots for returning people, and Fuge had an attempt at Coliseum. Like, that's just it breaks my heart to say it. But was he not in it last year? Bolton Oleg says no soul. I was sure Fudge was in
Coliseum.
No.
I'm imagining things. All right.
Fuge.
Oh, Fuge.
Ichiban Sweet Boy.
You said Big Fuge, and I thought you were just being an idiot.
No.
Vegeta for Coliseum. Yeah, now we're talking. All right.
Robbie says, no, you are the idiot. Oh, I think I go.
There we go. There we go. You can only use that one so many times, Todd. It's ticking down from its use cases.
Use it every time.
Look, speaking of PWA, and Matty Huss agrees Dusk. I think Dusk is pretty hard to deny at the moment. You know, it's Dusky.
Give my boy Mitch a run.
I would not be against it at all.
Mitch Ryder for Coliseum just seems like such a natural fit, doesn't it?
Just give him one shot.
Hey, that's his thing.
You
did the thing.
See what I did there? I did the thing.
Yeah, good one. Good one. If you want to catch more PWA, good news. There's PWA on this weekend. And it's at Combank Stadium on Sunday, June the 8th. That's right. Big showing for the people at PWA there. Catch them at Combank. They're not the only company that's got wrestling on this weekend. A big shout out to Michael Lee at the Australian Wrestling Community Facebook page, who puts together these rundowns every week that we get to use to talk about what's going on around the country. Also in New South Wales, in Newey, Newcastle Pro Wrestling's Fight Night on Saturday, June 7th. If you're in the ACT, Slam Pro Wrestling. We were just talking last week about how they are absolutely on top of their game. They've got the Academy Showcase number 9 on Saturday, June 7th. Up here in Queensland, a little bit north of us, QWA have Dominance on Saturday, June 7th. And the announcements for that card are just coming thick and fast. There is some incredible stuff on there, including a tag title match that's Whiplash and Tim Hayden versus what is it? Team QWA? Is it Sam
I don't know
Cannon?
if they are Team QWA up in QWA.
I think they are noting that they're Team QWA in QWA.
Oh, okay.
So funny. Down in South Australia, Pro Wrestling South Australia has their Hall of Fame ceremony on Saturday, June 7th.
Just
no,
before
that's
you
just
say
a ceremony, not a show.
Yeah, that's a ceremony. But congratulations to my good mate Wolfie, Wolf Dog, and also Luke Hazard that are going into the South Australian Wrestling Hall of Fame. So big up to those.
Well
guys.
deserved.
Put on a lot of good stuff for pro wrestling in South Australia. So massive congratulations to those two.
Yeah, can't speak highly enough of those. Like Luke Hazard, what a guy that has just been there through pro wrestling in South Australia. You know what I mean?
Do you know the funny thing is, like we reviewed like Riot City. He did the ring announcing there. Then we went and reviewed ACW. He did the commentary there. Then last week we reviewed Rampage. He did the commentary on that as well. The ring announcing on that as well. He like ringing out 3 different feds in the space of like of us reviewing them.
He cannot be escaped, Luke Hazard. Moving on.
I mean, he has a hard time remembering where he is at times. But
if you are in Victoria this weekend, then you've got a couple of options. PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling, on Saturday, June 7th. And then on Sunday, June 8th, there's Peak Pro Wrestling's Royal Fumble. And if you're over in WA, of course, EPW Perth, Explosive Pro Wrestling, have Revenge on Saturday, June 7th. So it is all kicking off around the country. And next weekend, there's a big show coming up. Renegades Wrestling Indestructible 2025, Sunday the 15th of June at Northcote Theatre. That one's going to have a Renegades Wrestling World title match with Mitch Waterman defending against Tyson Reed. It's going to have the women's title on the line with Indy Hartwell defending against Tali. And also JXT is going to take on those other 3 letters, O-L-Y, Jake Andrew Arthur. That's right. So get along to Renegades of Wrestling if you're in Victoria. And we've just been talking about PWA. We've made some predictions for the King of the Metro. But let's run through the cards so far. It's got that King of the Metro 30-person Rumble match. It's got the PWA Heavyweight Championship on the line with Chevs defending against Kai Drake. It's got the PWA Tag Team titles on the line with the Backslide Girls, Everett Connors and Shay Cassidy, defending against the Velocities, Jude London and Paris De Silva. And it's also got a Soul of PWA title match with Robbie Eagles defending against Michael Spencer, which low-key could be the match of the year, right?
Low-key show stealer right there.
Like, keep an eye on that. Wowza. Also, a quick ticket update for MCW's Ballroom Brawl. There's only 3 sections remaining. Over 800 tickets have been sold. There's great value GA seated tickets that are available now at mcwtix.com.au. That's mcwtix.com.au. It's an event suitable for all ages. That show's got the Ballroom Brawl 30-person Rumble. It's got the Sacrament with Edward Dusk versus Rocky Monero. Take my money. It's got a mixed tag team match that just got announced I think it was like a couple of nights ago, with Erica Reed and Caveman Ugg taking on Culture, Eugenie and Moko Kai. Can I get a choo? And we've also got a number one contendership for the MCW Tag Team Tournament match. Boy, that's a lot of words.
It's the final.
It's the final. This is a match for the number one contendership. It's Mitch Waterman and Ryan Rapid versus Ant Cavler and the Clydesdale. There we go. Mitch Waterman and Ryan Rapid, H2O 2.0, if you will. But yeah, like another stacked card. These shows just keep getting bigger and bigger across the country. So there is no reason to not be going and like checking out local wrestling. Like, it's hard to keep up with how many great shows there are. And the best way to do it is to be subscribed to Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it on the podcast app of your choice. You can do it on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can do it on Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that subscribe button. It's free. And it's also free here every Thursday night at approximately 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So come get amongst it. Be in the chat like JT, like Rosie, like David Fort, like Maddie Huss, like Bloody DJ, like Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges, all these people who we have so much joy talking to. And we're going to keep talking to them about what's going on right around the world of wrestling right after this.
I lost at high stakes because Rocky Monero set a trap and I ran right into it. I'm normally the one playing mind games, but he is in my head. all these insecurities that he wants to play on, that I want to pretend don't exist, that just because I've heard them for years, I'm beyond them. But the truth is, there is a part of me that fears he's right. And you know that, don't you, Rocky? This challenge at Ballroom, it's just another trap, disguised in opportunity. So I charge in, make a mistake, and fail again. But don't bullshit me with this scout's honor. All right, I know a rat when I smell one, crooked dice when I see them. This is a rigged game. It always has been. It would be easier for me to just walk away, but you know I will fight because it is what I know. Even if it is my undoing, but it is my choice. So I accept your challenge to enter the sacrament. I agree to your terms, I call your bet, and everything that comes with it. We will enter my world and I will show you everything I am, everything I am capable of. You have dug a grave for me, Rocky. But at Ballroom Brawl, I am burying you in it.
Dusky, I tried to warn you I didn't want to fight, but you didn't listen to me, and now you can tell me what the ceiling of the Thornbury Theatre looks like. And you're also out of the Ballroom Brawl, and you're going to have to cop that on the chin. See what I did there? Now, I have no interest in entering the Ballroom Brawl myself. Rob and Lucky have that covered. But that does leave me with an empty dance card on the biggest night of the year. So this is where I extend the old olive branch. And it's a sturdy branch at that. I have a challenge for you. How about you and I step into the sacrament together? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I offer myself up for that? Well, just because high stakes has been and gone doesn't mean we can't bet on ourselves one more time. You see, if you win, I'll let you have whatever match you like. You can challenge the champion, you can fight anybody you like. Your wish is my command. But if I win, we're sending you back to the resis where we found you. Okay, it's not a permanent ban from MCW. We're going to send you down to the twos, though. Get your confidence back up with some easier opponents, because I don't think you're ready for the big time yet. Oh, and the icons won't interfere either. Scouts honor. So, Edward, have a think about my proposal, and I'll hear from you soon. I've got to do a little bit of preparation.
That is exactly what this championship is all about. Hungry, young competitors that want to go out to that ring and show that they are the best. This championship shows that you are the best. Now, the next question that I have is who is next? Ryan Rapid, you put up one hell of a fight. And one day, dude, it wouldn't surprise me if you had this championship, but not tonight. No, not tonight. So, Ballroom, July 5th. Who's stepping up, fellas?
We here at Wrestle Radio Australia have had a lifelong dream since May to attend Crown Jewel. So we are excited to offer you all the chance to sponsor us in going over there for a holiday. Sorry, we mean to cover the event. Sponsor perks include your logo or name drawn on our shirts in a brand new Sharpie. Logo on shirts we intend to sell for profit. A firm handshake from Lockheed, gifts we buy at the airport on our way back from Perth. More cool stuff we'll think of later. Trust us, it'll be a smash hit. Plus, we are going to save you the hassle of going through a reputable site like GoFundMe. That's right, you can just send your money directly to us. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give us money.
This advertisement is a parody and should in no way be taken seriously. As professionals, we feel that we should pay our own way and not ask people for handouts.
That photo was used without my permission. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. And there has been some big news this week from the Big Fed. WWE has made a couple of releases, or more specifically, some people have been informed that they won't be offered an extension when their contracts expire. Specifically, those people are Sarah Logan, Carlito, and R-Truth. Worth noting that this is not the first time that Sarah Logan and Carlito have been not brought back to WWE. This is at least a second chance for both of them. R-Truth may be the biggest surprise of this bunch, considering that he just had a match against John Cena at Saturday night's main event. A lot of people reacting very strongly to news of that release. Let's pass to Todd first. Todd, what do you think of these names of people that will not have their contracts extended?
I mean, look, the R-Truth one was kind of surprising. Well, it was surprising, put it that way, because he's just he's a staple of the company, has been for 17 years there. But the way I see it is they didn't release them. They just let their contract. They're just letting their contract expire. They're not re-upping them. So it's just no different to what AEW have been doing for the past. I think they've just done it recently with a few, like Abaddon and a couple of others.
Bear Bronson.
Yeah. The thing is, right, everybody wants this person to go up to the main roster. When's blah blah making their main roster debut? There has to be a point where they go, cool, we can pull all these people up to the main roster. Somebody has to go. We can't, because you would have to think there is a time where you hit that amount of people where you just have to let people go to let other people take their spot, as harsh as that sounds. And I mean, Carlito, Carlito even made a joke of it when he did his announcement, saying I'm not being renewed. In fact, they've asked for some of my money back because apparently I've been stealing it for months. So it's just Sarah Logan's is unfortunate because she'd had a couple of children and never really came back that much after that. Never really got a shot back much after that. But then you got Julia coming through. You got Stephanie McClure coming through. You a whole bunch of I think there was 39 women that are signed to the NXT brand. So eventually they would have to come up to that main roster. So I don't know where you find the time. It gets to the point where there should be a finite number of people on a roster. And I think that's what, being that now that WWE is part of the TKO umbrella, I kind of feel like they've said, okay, these are the amount of people you can have. This is the budget that you've got to work for. There are certain people who will go outside of that budget because their names, they're gonna be able to command that. But for your overall roster, here's the number this is the number that is our sweet spot number. So, which is it is unfortunate, and I hate the fact that these people lose their jobs. But
I just had a look quickly. Sorry, Todd. Between SmackDown and Raw, the men's and women's rosters of both, there is currently 106 names on the list. 52 people on Raw, 54 people on SmackDown. That's a lot of wrestlers.
That is, and it's the same with the same with AEW. They too really should be implementing a hard cap of people they have under their contract, because you just don't have any place for them on the show. You only have a finite amount of hours a week for programming, and if you're just having them there to stockpile them, you're not really helping that person grow as a performer. I mean, you're helping them because you're paying them, and that's great, but I don't think it helps them in the long run.
And then combine that with the fact that you've now got WWE Evolve, so you've got all those next in line people. You've got the ID program. The number of people that are coming up through WWE looking for those main roster spots. Honestly, the fact that right now we're hearing about 3 people going, when just this week we've had another person debut in NXT. How many more NXT debuts have happened in the last 6 months compared to how many people have left WWE? There's still unsustainable growth now, which means
I think
going to get let go.
I think there are a lot of people around that mid-ish card area that when their contracts come up, they're going to be very, unless they're hearing something from somebody about re-upping or renegotiating really soon, have to be just a little bit worried about it. There was rumors that this week something about The Miz might be on the bubble when it comes to that. But then The Miz has got, he's hosting this new season or the new iteration of Gladiators. So he'll be over in England filming that for I don't know how long. So who knows? Maybe he gets released or doesn't get re-upped because he's going to do that. To be honest with you, like R-Truth is the only one who I'd like to see come back on a part-time basis. Like maybe that's what they do. They go, look, we can't give you full-time money. We can give you a part-time contract.
I would imagine they put Truth on a Legends deal.
You would think so. You would like to think so.
We'll do some random merch stuff like the figures and everything, but when we need you, we'll bring you in for one-shot backstage thing.
Yeah.
Matty Huss in the chat saying people forget that WWE/TKO is a publicly listed company. Ultimate responsibility is to maximize outcomes for shareholders. Bloated rosters with talent not contributing to revenue equals bad budget management. Definitely sad to see people lose jobs, but let's not lose sight that it's business. And unfortunately, as much as we're here as, fans of an entertainment product, it will come down to the bottom line a lot of the time for the company. Right? I loved seeing Carlito come back. I really enjoy Sarah Logan's work, typically. I agree that R-Truth, the Legends deal, is what I kind of would foresee or expect. I think I put in the chat, I see him being in the Ron Simmons role for the next few years, where you'd remember every few months Ron Simmons would show up backstage, see something happening and say, damn. I think that's what R-Truth is going to do. Every so often, something's going to be happening and R-Truth is going to show up thinking he's part of it. And everyone's going to pop, and then that's him for 6 months.
He'll stop and go, oh, my bad. No, that's on me. That's on me. And then,
there was the news today, too, that Karrion Kross hasn't been offered a renewal yet, and his contract ends in the next couple of months. So if I'm him...
that one's a surprising one. That's someone who I would...
There's a little part of me that thinks that may be more WWE playing on what is happening with these other names and building towards a story as part of it, right? Because Karrion Kross not feeling appreciated in his role in WWE is the story he's telling.
That's true.
Yeah. But remember too, like last week, Lachlan, we were only talking about Carlito. Like, what does he actually do? We're like, aside from being in the back of those vignettes all the time and dropping in that funny one-liner every now and then, when was the last time we saw him wrestle? He just was basically ringside a lot for, like...
How much merch is Carlito selling?
Yeah, well, that was the difference. Like, R-Truth's Ron Cena shirt was the biggest selling shirt on WWE.com, and it just... they still let him go.
Yeah, and Matty Huss with, I don't know if it could happen, but he says, I'm praying for R-Truth to turn up at AEW thinking he's still at WWE. I'd howl at a backstage segment where he keeps calling Tony Khan Nick.
Problem is, Will Ospreay doesn't think that they should just be able to turn up now.
Yeah, well, Will Ospreay thinks a lot of things, Todd. Let's talk about...
attitude has really changed lately.
Let's talk about the other side of it, where WWE is letting people go, but as I mentioned, they're also getting people on board. Mariah May debuting on NXT, appearing without saying her name, which is very interesting. Jamie, what do you think of Mariah May making her way to NXT?
It was a matter of time. They basically gave her the Ricky Starks debut, though, where they show up in the crowd, they let the crowd say their name, like chant the name, but no one actually says it on commentary or either of them.
Show up, do your gimmick. You can say what your gimmick name is. You can say you're absolute, or you can say you're glamorous, or the glamour.
Yep.
But just leave it out for now.
Let the crowd say the name, and then we'll give you a new name next week.
Yeah.
You reckon she's a good fit for NXT?
Well, they need to. They needed to re-up because they let people, apparently Jordan's supposed to be going up soon as well, and Stephanie just left, so... they need a couple
here's
down there.
The question. Is the Stephanie and Jordan call-up because of knowing that Mariah May is coming? Or did they get called up and then that's space that Mariah May can fill?
I think they went up because they knew they had Mariah.
Yeah.
I agree, right? It seems like...
using Jason as a transitional champion so that she can come in, beat someone that's well-known in the NXT roster.
Yep.
And then she can be the star of NXT for a while. Before then, she goes up.
Yep. absolutely. Joaquin Wilde is out of Worlds Collide. It was revealed on NXT that Lince Dorado has replaced Wilde in the upcoming 6-man tag match that takes place this weekend when he was knocked unconscious during a speed match with Lexus King. Personally, as much as that sucks, I am really happy to see that things like this are being taken seriously, right? Like, if someone gets knocked unconscious, if they're like, no, I'm good, I can wrestle this weekend. There was a long time where that would have been that, and they would just go on. Especially being a match on speed where it happened and a lot of people didn't see it. It'd be like, yeah, that's fine. So the fact that they are taking it seriously, I think, is good. And I think Lince Dorado's a great pick for Worlds Collide.
Yeah. He's been signed for a while. He's been doing a lot of stuff on like NXT house shows and stuff. I think he's doing a bit of training, like as a trainer. I'm not too sure though there. So, yeah.
He's also massively underrated, I'll say. Lince Dorado 100%. Is like one of those guys where when he came into the cruiserweight division, like that was a coup because he was one of the names in Mexico and he has been doing very little, unfortunately. So I think him getting to show off how good he is potentially is a good thing, right? But, Worlds Collide is coming up this weekend, but so let's talk about that first, I guess. Let's run through the Worlds Collide lineup, and then we'll talk about the bigger show with Money in the Bank coming up. So Worlds Collide has Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado versus Aerostar, Octagon Jr., and Mr. Iguana. Low-key, watch out for that, because that could be the match of the night. Aerostar is one of my favorites long-term. That could be an absolute banger. Santos Escobar, Angel Umberto versus Psycho Clown, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., and Pagano in a 6-man tag action. There's also Stephanie Vicker and Lola Vice versus Chick Tormenta and Delice. There's an NXT North American Championship match with Ethan Page defending against Javon Evans, Ray Phoenix, and Laredo Kid in a 4-way match. And the AAA Mega Championship is on the line with El Hijo del Vikingo defending against Chad Gable. I love Vikingo. That's no secret. Vikingo versus Mitch Ryder is maybe the best match I've ever seen in person. It's definitely up there. It's up there with Ryder and Robbie. Like, that's the kind of match that we're talking about there. Like, Vikingo just delivers all the time. Him against Gable's going to be bloody great. It'll shock me if it's less than phenomenal. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges in the chat says, Mr. Iguana on a WWE-ish show. Incredible.
I don't understand, though. Like, because when WWE bought Triple R, everyone was saying like, "Oh, Alberto Del Rio will be on everything now." I don't understand what's going. I was told this by people on X, so surely they knew better than everyone.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Vikingo beats him for the championship. Yeah, weird, funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, any thoughts on that card before we move on? Other than holy cow, Mr. Iguana appearing for WWE.
Well, we talked about this.
To check out.
Yeah, we talked about this before the show, Lachlan, that on the WWE Vault, there is a unaired... Was it a pilot? Because you know more about this story than I do.
Yeah, so it was a pilot for a WCW-produced lucha show that was going to air in Mexican markets. The idea was to compete with the WWE lucha show that was going out at the same time. Depending on who you ask, either the show did not meet expectations, or it didn't go as planned, or there was trouble getting it onto a network. Whatever the case was, the show never really made it to air, but that unreleased pilot has gone up on the WWE Vault, which is interesting. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but I know that, like I was saying to the boys, the main event of that show was Conan versus Disco Inferno. So, if you're a lover of Lucha Libre, gotta get around that.
One thing, because I've watched the first match in a bit, because I was doing something at the time, but they did the whole traditional, like, it was like everything was coming out. I believe the first 2 matches were like led to the ring by mariachi bands and stuff. So it wasn't like the WCW like back end music. It was like mariachi bands playing live and dancing, like flamenco dancers and stuff like that. They were coming out. Every
time something like this happens, there's a little part of me that says, why isn't Lucha Libre like more popular than American style wrestling? Because whenever people see it for the first time and it's good, people are like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Right? And you get those like traditional Mexican styles where they have the live band and the live music. And look, this is just me being biased and wanting Lucha Underground
I think
back.
it's the selling. For me anyway, it's the lack of selling. It's like, because I said to you when I watched the thing, like the first match, there was a power bomb off the top rope, and the guy barely sold that. But then they were selling punches and chops like they were killing each other. It was like, my head just did not compute with a lot of this stuff. I'm like, I don't get it. At least pretend like you're doing something.
Yeah.
My problem with Lucha is it's like, it's amazing or it's really, really bad. There's like very little in between.
Yeah. I guess like it's going to be, I'm very interested to see, because for someone like me, I don't really watch Lucha that much. So
I always try and check out Triple Mania, and every year I'm like, the first half of the show, I'm like, what the hell is going on? What is happening?
Man, Triple Mania is a ride. If you are watching and you've never watched a Triple Mania, just decide that you're going to tune into Triple Mania this year. I don't know if WWE having their hands on it means that suddenly it's going to be watchable. But historically, it hasn't been. It's been just like, you'll see the best match that you've ever seen immediately followed by a car crash. It's incredible. Can't recommend it highly enough.
But see, like for someone like me that doesn't watch it, I'm going to be introduced to like Aerostar, Octagon Jr., Pagano, Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, all guys that I haven't really seen but I've heard about.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to watch that.
And it's also interesting, like, and again, off on a little bit of a tangent here, but like Aerostar I bloody love. You'll see Octagon Jr., not the original Octagon Jr., but you'll also notice that he'll have a very familiar style of mask because Penta was originally Pentagon Jr., who was specifically created to be a villain for Octagon. Like, all of this stuff just exists within this insane world. Like, Mr. Iguana's just a ride. But, like, Elio Del... Sorry, go on.
It was like a while ago, Mitch and I went down this rabbit hole of looking at who played Black Tiger.
Yeah.
In Japan. It was like some of the names were like, really? I think like Ishii played Black Tiger for a real short time.
Yep.
I'm like, how the hell do you have Tomohiro Ishii play a Black Tiger, then it gets switched to someone like Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't even look close.
No.
And again, like a little bit off topic, did you hear that Hayabusa is back? And
yes.
And the story about Hayabusa is apparently it's still Hayabusa. He just hasn't been wrestling for a while. That's what they're insisting on.
Yeah, he took a break.
Like, he took a break in, what was it, 2002?
20 years.
Yeah, I like the idea that maybe because they said something like the wrestler behind the mask has nothing to do with what
Hayabusa is. Yeah.
So I like the idea that the character is the mask. Like you put that whoever puts that mask on becomes that same guy from that time away. Like I would love if there was some backstory where a guy found the mask. Yeah, exactly. I would love if that was the backstory for it. Like he just found the mask and put it on once, and then all of a sudden he is fucking Hayabusa now.
Yeah. Bring back Lucha Underground. That's what we're all saying. But yeah, I think that keep note that Elio de Dr. Wagner Jr. is not Dr. Wagner Jr. He is the grandson of the original Dr. Wagner, not the son of Dr. Wagner. So like a lot of these characters are full lineages where
you too, Jamie. Good. Both of us are just like, what?
Just does my head every time.
Yeah. So you've probably heard of Dr. Wagner Jr. That's not who's on the card. Elio Dr. Wagner Jr. is on the card, which is his son, who wears the same mask. He's good. He's no prime Dr. Wagner Jr. Anyway. But like, that's the world of Lucha for you.
Classic Lucha.
Let's move on to the big WWE show that's coming, and that is Money in the Bank. A card that John Cena is on in his farewell year, but no CM Punk. Very interesting. On this card, we've got Lyra Valkyria defending her Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. We've got a tag team match with John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. And then we've got a couple of stacked great Money in the Bank matches. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez versus Naomi versus Julia versus Alexa Bliss. And then over on the men's side, it's Seth Rollins versus Penta versus El Grande Americano versus Solo Sikoa versus Andrade versus LA Knight. I will point out, I think it's the 4th anniversary of Andrade debuting and announcing that he will be the face of AEW. So congratulations to him on 4 years that have gone exactly to plan. But yeah, what do we think of these Money in the Bank lineups and the matches for the whole Money in the Bank card, starting with Todd?
Look, it's one of those things where you would think, like, a walk-up start is like Seth Rollins winning that Money in the Bank because the story kind of just fits. But I mean, they could, if they really wanted to throw a spanner in the works, you could have Penta walk away with that thing. I don't think they will, but if they wanted to, they could. The women's one is very interesting because you got a lot of people that you would kind of think Rhea is a lock, but then like you've got her in there with basically, aside from Rhea, Alexa, and Naomi, the other 3 girls in there are brand spanking new to that main roster, and would look really good walking around with that briefcase for the next however long.
And my counter to Rhea, sorry to interrupt you, Todd, is you want to talk about someone who does not need Money in the Bank? Rhea Ripley. You want to talk about someone who does not need any piece of hardware, belt, briefcase, otherwise? Rhea Ripley can walk into any match and that feels important, right?
Yes.
Like it was the same thing when, for years, they never gave The Undertaker a belt except for rare circumstances because wrestling The Undertaker was as good as having a title match. Right?
Yeah.
That's where Rhea is in the women's division.
I think the only reason they would put Money in the Bank on Rhea is if they want to use it to like switch her from Raw to SmackDown at some point through the year.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
I wonder if there's ways to do that don't have to involve the title. Like, I know that theoretically the brand split exists, but how much do people really care about that to the extent where you can't just have the general managers go, we've reached an agreement?
Yeah, we're going to do a trade.
Yeah.
But then who do you trade for Rhea Ripley? Half your roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You have 30
an undisclosed sum of money, I think is what you say.
Yes, that would work.
A brown paper bag.
I think what you do is you have the trade happen, and you have Pierce and how am I forgetting NWA man's name? What's his name?
Nick Aldis.
Pierce and Aldis walk into a room, and from one side is Rhea Ripley, and on the other side is 4 briefcases, and all of the briefcases swap over, and that's all you see. Like, yeah, like I think it can be done. Yeah, I don't think Rhea needs it. The one for me, the name that sticks out is Julia. Imagining Julia holding that briefcase, just it does something to my heart that I can't describe. Like, she's a killer, and she's been getting to show that off lately, and she's looking like that, like, peak heel stardom Julia, and imagining her with Money in the Belt just running roughshod would be beautiful.
Is the problem with that?
I think Julia is the one that takes all the crazy bumps.
That's true.
She's a mad woman. If
she's
someone
insane.
has a problem with bumps, she'll be the one that takes it.
Is the problem with that, though, like, she can't really cut a promo?
Yeah, I think Roxanne takes it.
And half of the thing of Money in the Bank is that you've got that briefcase and you're constantly teasing on who you're going to cash it in on, and actually having to talk about who you're going to cash it in on.
I think Julia can cut a promo without opening her mouth.
Well, I just think that Roxanne is probably the best. If you're not going to go with Rhea or Alexa, and let's face it, Alexa could do it.
Yeah.
It could be a nice little boost for Alexa coming back, because she really hasn't had that much like to go with. So this could give her something where instead of just being that little, like, everything, like any promo you see her in, she always like a little add-on for the promo.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe this is a good way to like, okay, we're going to push her forward now.
Re-establish her as a champion level talent.
Yeah,
but I think it's hard to deny the appeal of Roxanne with Money in the Bank, right?
100%.
It just fits so well. She's got the mic work. She's got the in-ring skill. She's great as a heel at the moment. Like, and she is that kind of heel that would be the one to tease the cash in, to be opportunistic. Like, I think that's great.
And she's really love management there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that,
and also, and also with Roxanne, you've got that thing with her and Liv as well underneath it. So she could come in with this Money in the Bank going, look what I got, guys, into the Judgment Day. And then, like, you can keep doing Finn Balor doing that.
Yeah, I do like that. I will say that I think that 5 years ago, Todd, if I had heard you, if somebody had told me Todd would be saying Penta could win Money in the Bank and it would be a good choice, I think I would have lost my mind. Like, just the fact that that's the planet we live on now. Because I felt like this crazy person who was obsessed with Penta a decade ago, and everyone was like, okay, some weird Mexican dude, and now he's just at the top of everything, and I love to see it. I think that LA Knight had the chance, and I don't think it's LA Knight's time to win Money in the Bank. Seth seems really obvious, but then I also worry that it feels like a retread of Seth with Money in the Bank when he pulled off the heist of the century. That's my concern with that. I don't feel like El Grande Americano is the choice. That would just be silly.
No, he's your bump
what we're
guy
left with is he's the bump guy for sure. And like, it puts to bed all of these rumors, because Chad Gable's wrestling on Worlds Collide and El Grande Americano's on Money in the Bank. So like, they're both working separate shows. These rumors can go away. I don't think Andrade is.
I could be wrong here, but I swear the promo photos for El Grande Americano, they've just had somebody else in that mask.
Yeah.
Because it does not look like Gable when you look at it.
At all. People have noticed that El Grande Americano's boots have CG on them. Chad Gable posted that that boots got lost in customs, so Gable
He's a
lent
big
him
Chelsea
some,
Green
which was
fan.
really nice. Yeah.
They're Chelsea's boots.
Yeah.
But the name that seems left to me is Solo Sikoa. I feel like he was in that kind of echelon, and then the feud with Roman left him feeling a little bit cold. I think you give him that briefcase and it heats him right back up. I feel like that's the way they're going.
The thing is, I saw a story not long ago where apparently WWE management or Triple H, like especially, sent out an email to everybody on the roster saying that you guys need to start learning Japanese, and especially singled out Solo Sikoa. So maybe Solo is going to be off on a excursion.
On an excursion.
Noah.
Man, I would not hate that. Yeah. Anyway, look, John Cena, Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. That's much of a muchness, right? Who wins, who loses really doesn't matter. It's storyline nonsense, right?
Can we just
got to think it's Cody and Jey.
I think it's got to be Cody and Jey. Yeah, Jamie.
Can Logan just get kicked in the mouth again, please?
I would like to see that. I do have to point out David Fort in the chat with the name for the new group we're seeing, the Seth Riders, which I think is really good. Nice. Really well done there. And then women's.
To be fair, this could be the least boring John Cena match he's had so far.
That's very true. And then women's IC title, Lyra defending against Becky Lynch. I think they keep it on Lyra. I think
that would make sense, but it's Becky Lynch.
Yeah, and like Becky as a heel champ gives a lot of young women a chance.
And also taking it off Lyra for a while so she wins it back off Becky in a bigger place.
Yep. Like, good options there. Anyway, quickly, let's pivot to AEW. Now, we're going to talk about what's coming up with All In, because AEW, as usual, if we talked about all of the big events they put on, we would be here all week. because they just had a massive Wednesday show that was their big spectacular Fighter Fest. Was it 4 hours, Jamie?
4 hours, 8 minutes.
Cool. And then I did just see they're building to another show in a couple of weeks. Next week, is it? Cool. That one's going.
And then
that's going to be 4 hours. Then Grand Slam. Then we've got All In coming up. It doesn't stop. Look, we'll acknowledge Summer Blockbuster has Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland 2. That will be a good match. Right? Yeah. We're all agreed there. All right, let's talk about the all-in card. So far, what we've got confirmed, AEW World Champion Jon Moxley is defending against Hangman Adam Page. AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm defends against Mercedes Moné. And winner takes all, AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada versus AEW International Champion Kenny Omega in a match that was shockingly announced by Tony Khan that we were talking about 3 weeks ago.
That's a big announcement today.
So, yeah. The question that got asked before we went live, what do they do with Ospreay on the All-In card? Anyone?
I think I think they do a Swerve rematch in one of Swerve's like classic deathmatchy style things.
So does this mean they turn Swerve back heel?
He kind of already has been the last couple of weeks with basically saying it.
But I think that's only
Hangman, I'm not helping Hangman. I'm my own guy.
Yeah, but I think the idea of that is like he's cool with everyone else, just not fucking Hangman. Just not the guy that burnt my house down.
Yeah,
fuck Hangman in particular.
Else.
Yeah.
He did punch
I'll be cool with everybody
on Collision though, so he's kind of heelish.
Well, when you got that guy constantly going, be friends with the dude that burnt your house down. Go on, be friends with him. Why? Oh, because it's for AEW. So, fuck that. That was my house.
Yeah.
Fuck AEW. No offense, dude, but fuck AEW. That was my house.
To be fair, Swerve did break into Hangman's house and...
He walked around inside their house. He didn't burn it to the fucking ground.
He didn't drink whiskey while it burned behind him.
Yeah. And then made it his Tron. He still walks into
it. Yeah. Man.
Which means that, like, if they eventually make up a team, his house will be burning down while he's walking to the ring with the guy that burned his house down.
I said last week, I love when wrestlers have a memory. So, like, I do want to see that continue on with, like, you know, Swerve being, he's a good guy. Just, like, fuck that guy. I hate him. And I think that's more interesting as a nuanced character, right?
Yeah, and Hangman's the same. Hangman's like I like everyone else. Fuck that dude. I don't like that dude.
Yeah, in his promo today, he said that Swerve is the worst person he's ever seen.
Yeah. Whereas, like, it's to the point now where I'm starting to not like Will Ospreay because he's just so uber white meat babyface, bruv.
Yeah.
Can't shut his mouth.
Yeah, well, and it sort of bit him in the ass today when he realized that he actually said that AEW sucks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a bad.
Did you see the look on his face after he said it? He literally had to walk away from the microphone. He's like, "Oh shit! I just said this place sucks."
Yep.
I said the quiet part out loud. Look, I've got this weird feeling that it's going to be another Swerve versus Ospreay with the stipulation of if Ospreay wins, Swerve has to be in Hangman's corner in the main event.
Oh, I kind of hate that.
Yeah, I kind of hate it too, which is why that's what it's going to be, right?
Yeah, I kind of hate it too because I don't think that Page wins that match.
No, it's all for nothing. It's all a waste of time. Everything's a waste of time in AEW, Todd.
God, if Hangman doesn't win that match, that entire show is going to get so shit on.
Yeah, because they've been building this Death Riders story for how long now with no foreseeable payoff? Like it.
I just like the fact that
they have Darby come back and
so much.
Hangman.
The fact that that Ospreay talks about it so much, like he should be the one that wins it. I'm just like, I just don't think he's gonna. I don't think Hangman's gonna win this. I think this
But
is
this
built
is
for
the-
Ospreay to win it for somehow.
This is the thing. Darby told me when I spoke to Darby Allin that he wanted to beat up the Death Riders. How long ago was that?
Well, remember, he ended a pay-per-view like Dynamite, where he was like on the roof of their car beating it up. And then we didn't see him again until he came out for one tag team match. And then we didn't see him again until he went off to climb a mountain.
Fucked off to climb a mountain. Yeah. Like, Jesus. Anyway, let's talk something a bit more positive really quickly. We have a new record for youngest wrestler to ever win the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. It is the Ichiban sweet boy himself, Kosei Fujita. That's right. Big Fuge, as he's well known, beat Yo in the finals on Saturday's show. Yeah, like we had called this early. Obviously, we had really hoped to see Fujita and Robbie go at it in the final. But, you know, for a kid that young to be as damn good as he is, seeing Fujita be in that spot, get that win, it's bloody nice. So I think we're all sharing good feelings about Kosei Fujita as the best of the Super Juniors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got to go back because I kind of think I might have called that final too. I can't remember.
I think you may have. We will double check, but I think you may have.
All right. It's on par.
Don't help him, Lachlan.
I'm gonna have to call Brian again.
You don't have to call Brian again. You don't.
I might have to.
Todd, you don't have to call Brian. Keep Brian out of this, Todd. All right,
Lachlan.
Jeff. You know, this show is called Making Chicken Salad, and it's called that because we like to talk about what we like in wrestling. But in order to make that make sense, we also have to talk about the chicken shit, the things that we don't like in wrestling. Jamie, has there been a chicken shit for you this week?
Yes. So there was two. The first one was the 4-hour AEW today. Went 4+ hours, had 2 women's matches, 13 total minutes of women's wrestling. What the hell are we doing? Like, they've booked Tony versus Mercedes, so your 2 women's singles titles against each other at the big pay-per-view. What are all the other women doing? Like, having a 4-hour show and only giving them 13 minutes is not helping you at all to reassure the women that we're not going to forget about you for All In. Like, I don't know if there's going to be another women's match on that show now.
But hey, Tay Mello's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so Tay Mello returns. They announced that Tony has a big announcement coming later in the show before the main event, making you think, okay, they're finally going to do these women's tag team titles that he's spoken about wanting to do. They've been sort of setting up all these women's tag teams. And then the announcement is that Okada is versing Omega again. And I was just like, what is happening here? Okay, so the women are just going to be, they'll be the pre-show on this card, I think, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
If we're lucky.
Matt in the chat with his chicken shit. Ric Flair, just get in the bin, buddy. Shocking but sadly unsurprising discourse on Twitter X.
I've just now resorted myself because I love the Nature Boy. I loved it. I love Ric Flair. I think amazing. I've got 2 different pairs of like Ric Flair shoes. I've got a pink chalk line Nature Boy jacket. As far as I'm concerned now, he retired at WrestleMania when Shawn kicked him. He came back and did a quick shot in TNA and did a really cool promo with Kenny King, with Jay Lethal, and then I didn't really see him again.
And that's the way it ended.
That's the way I choose to remember Ric Flair. He went off in a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges has a chicken shit. People criticize the length of AEW pay-per-views, so they respond with a 4-hour Dynamite where not much happens. Today was a rough watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of and
they just keep putting on wrestling. I cannot wait for their next Wednesday show to also be 4 hours long.
And I think the Grand Slam show is probably going to be long as well.
I would be shocked if it isn't.
Yeah.
Remember what happened at our Grand Slam show? It was long.
Yeah, it was.
Todd, do you have a chicken shit for us?
Well, Rick was one of mine, so thank you, Matty. My other one, do you know what? Do you know how last week I said, and even this week I said, like on X, I put up a post like thank God Australian wrestling is good, because American wrestling at the moment is an absolute shit show. And then I thought about this more, and do you know what? It is not. I don't so much think it's the wrestling. I think it's X. I think it's the engagement farmers on Twitter and X that are ruining it for me at the moment.
Yeah.
Like Air Gold and fucking Drain Bamager and God knows who else. There's like 10 of them. And all they do is constantly put up bullshit after bullshit. Constantly, it annoys. It takes my enjoyment out of wrestling at times when I have to see this shit. Then, and it goes to both sides of this. Like, what do they call it? The
Fed Wars.
The tribalism divide.
Yeah. The tribalism. Thank you. It goes for both. Like both sides are the same. Like fans are called Triple H Triple Nose and like all this other shit, and I'm so fucking over it. Like, if you don't like something, say you don't like something. But don't go just making bullshit after, like, trying to find things that you don't like about it. Like trying to find the little, like, oh, well, this is why, like, people want R-Truth back and they were chanting R-Truth. Guys, you had 17 years to chant R-Truth during shows and you didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we take the opposite approach. Like, we try and find the stuff we like.
Yeah.
I mean, I point out the stuff I don't like, but I'll give you reasons why I don't like it. It's not just like, I didn't like this because it's shit.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for instance, like throwing this out there, that whole, the PWA show we reviewed tonight, like, I didn't like the way that was because this is what I would have done. Like, that's a perfect example of what, like, if I don't like something, I'll say why I didn't like it, and then I'll say what I probably would have preferred to see. Whereas I like Will Ospreay. I think he's an amazing wrestler. I prefer him not to be a complete white meat baby face leaning on the whole, I love AEW, I will fight for my life for AEW. Motherfucker, you weren't there 6 months ago. Don't pretend like you were there at Jacksonville making the announcement with the Young Bucks. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. Like, it just takes my
back then he
enjoyment
was
of the
saying
show.
the same thing about New Japan.
Yeah, I wish he went on as many, like, podcasts and shit talking about how good New Japan was, because maybe they wouldn't have been in the shape that they're in at the current time, where it's hard for them to get traction anywhere.
Yeah. Can I actually just jump on the back of your chicken shit here, Todd? Because I think, like, focusing on how frustrating the Twitter takes are about wrestling at the moment, I'm seeing so many people talk about how Triple H is a terrible booker and this is the worst WWE has ever been, and missing Vince McMahon. And yeah, that face exactly, right? Like, these people clearly were not there when we were watching the Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler feud, right?
No.
Like, this is the thing, is we were in the trenches in some of these. There was periods where wrestling was just shit from top to bottom. Remember the anonymous Raw general manager, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let me tell you that I'm fine if you don't like that R-Truth is gone from the company, and I'm fine if you don't think that, you know, Jey Uso is a great champion. But week to week, when you've got Rhea Ripley meeting Stephanie Vaquer backstage and saying, meet you at Money in the Bank. And then you've got New Day coming up to Grayson Waller and saying, hey, Austin Theory's holding you down. You need to do to him what we did to Big E. And taking these storyline seeds and following them through and making interesting stories and establishing a stable like the Seth Riders that is actually like young guys with great talkers egging them on, right? Like, there's so much good stuff here. And then while that's happening, there's the background of it that, you know, Karrion Kross is talking to Sami Zayn, and also Gunther's picking on Jay while that group is trying to target the Seth Riders. You know, all of this stuff's going on. This is not terrible stuff.
No, but
right?
I mean, you do have to admit that WWE are somewhat in a creative slump. But then, when you say that, that's because they have just come off the bloodline angle, which is probably universally, yeah. But it's like the bloodline angle is universally known as one of the best angles in professional wrestling. So whatever came after it was never going to be as good.
No, it sounds sacrilegious to say, but I think in 10 years' time, people will nod and say the bloodline is, and it's not better than, and it's not equal to, but it's in the same conversation as Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. Like, that is the kind of storyline that it was. It took over whole shows for a long time and was excellent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be a bit of rebuilding.
It ended like 20 minutes of a pay-per-view, like a promo segment ended a pay-per-view for 20 minutes, and people didn't care because they popped for what was happening in that segment. That whole thing with when Sammy finally left.
Yes.
All of that, like, yeah. And it's the same, like AEW with the whole Tony Storm, Mariah May, that whole angle is amazing. So, of course, it was going to be hard for them to come back and do something as good as straight after.
Yeah. I'll say, so that I have a more formal chicken shit, I don't like people debuting without a name, so that we have this conversation about what's this person's name going to be. I don't think that's anything. I don't like that. But
I kind of feel like you do that for the social engagement of let's get the buzz going, let's get all the stories and all of the like people tweeting, oh look, Mariah's here, but they didn't have a name, so what's her name going to be?
Yeah, because they got a good what 72 hours out of Ricky Saints.
What's her name? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get another social media bump when we find out what the name is. So, like, I get why they do it.
Yeah.
But I find it frustrating. So that's my chicken shit, just because, like, mostly wrestling has been good lately. Like, Matty Hutt says, trigger warning if you're going to talk about the guest host era of WWE, please. Like, that's what I'm saying. We're in a hot period.
I have another one, too. And
I think where Triple H...
It's also one... Sorry, go on.
I think where Triple H excels with his storytelling is it's not... Everything's not siloed. Like, it feels like there's connections between all of the stories. Like, they might not be strong connections, but they're at least, like, doing the ships passing in the night stuff. Of The backstage feels like an actual lived-in place. It's not just... You go to the locker room and you come out, do your bit, and then you go back, and the next people come out.
Yeah. And you can see that with, like, Gunther's talking to Jay about how Jay's using all his energy helping these people when Jay should be focusing on the title. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what that is.
I'm sorry, and my another one I have, and it's one that I was listening to Brian talk about it today on Wrestling Observer.
Your best mate, Brian.
My best mate, Brian. And it just, I was like, yeah, you know what? You 100% correct. All these people that come out from Evolve onto NXT, and nobody says who they are. There's no little chyron of what their names are. Like, I don't watch Evolve, so I don't know who the fuck these guys are. Why are you telling me that, like, I don't know who you are? They just go ahead and talk like I'm supposed to know who you are?
It's the classic AEW problem of bringing in a dude and not explaining who they are.
Yeah, but don't give me a nameplate with Obafemi. I know who Obafemi is. You know what I mean? I know who that dude is. Give me the nameplate of the guy that's been on Evolve for the last 3 months, and I've never seen him on NXT before. Like, let me know who his name is, so at least I know, like, I know what their faction's name is. I have no idea who he is.
Yep. All right. Look, I think
just before we move on, my other chicken shit was just kind of the overall booking of the Best of Super Juniors tournament. Like, it was so, like, even across the board with this log jam of people right up until the end of basically everyone was still in it on the final day, except for like 2 people in each block. And it really didn't elevate anyone or give anyone any storylines moving forward. It was kind of just like, oh, we booked a whole bunch of cool matches, and the matches themselves were good. But where do we go from here, apart from Fujita winning?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Look, a lot of that for our chicken shit was actually a little bit positive. So let's actually keep the positives rolling. Let's talk about chicken salad. Let's be happy about wrestling for a bit. Jamie, is there something that you've loved this week?
My chicken salad was the actual Best of Super Juniors final. Fujita winning, great. But I think this was probably Yo's best singles match that I've seen, like since he kind of split off and became the Yo that we have now. He was great in this. Like, he did all the callbacks to past Chaos members like Shinsuke and stuff like that. And I was like, this is an awesome match. And it was like what the tournament was supposed to build to. Like, the final should always be the best match of the tournament. And yeah, it was. It just, the rest of the tournament was like, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, but whatever. Todd?
Whatever. Funnily enough, mine is like Best of Super Juniors related, and that was seeing the look of pride on both Jag and Robbie's face as they watch Fuge with that. Because like I've been lucky enough to work with Robbie and Fuge, and I know the relationship that those two have. And that was probably a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So to see that relationship has really grown to the point where, like, Robbie 100% thinks of Fuge as like a little brother / son. So the amount of pride that there was a shot that was put up, I think today maybe, on X, with Jag and Robbie sitting on the apron together, just smiling, watching Fuge.
When Fujita was like running up through the crowd.
Yeah, and that to me, I'm like, that's awesome. That's what I want to see. Like that stuff is cool. So yeah, that's my chicken. That made me feel on a week where I was like really fed up with shit going on social media, just constant pile on of shit. Seeing something like that just made me happy. So that was my chicken salad.
Matty Huss's chicken salad. MXW have announced Brian Kendrick versus Kai Toa for their July 12th show in Ballarat. Kendrick had a pair of great outings when he toured in February for MXW, but versing Kai Toa, banger incoming. And Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says chicken salad. In contrast to Ospreay, Hangman Page has almost become the perfect babyface for the 18 to 49 male black t-shirt wearing AEW fan. I've got a soft spot for Hangman. It might just be that he's a teacher. That might be all it is. But I've got a soft spot for Hangman. I think he's a great baby face. Yeah, making that face, I know.
The funniest part of that comment, though, is like Hangman doesn't have any black t-shirts.
Yeah, that's right.
He has all the colorful t-shirts.
I wasn't a massive fan of the whole anxious millennial Hangman.
No.
I'm much more a fan of this angry, like 2025 Magnum TA Hangman.
I fully get that. The Dark Order What Makes a Cowboy entrance is something that I go back to and just watch when I'm feeling down. It's there with the Mania 26 Taker Shawn pre-match vignette. Like, unbelievable stuff. Like, some of the things.
Don't get me wrong.
Like,
I like parts of it. I just think they went a little too far at times.
Yeah, and I think they didn't pull the trigger at exactly the right time as well. So
that's because his wife gave birth to a child.
Yeah,
and
hard to
really avoid. It kind of hampered that storyline, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not unfortunately, because he had a lovely child.
Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, for the thing. Maddie, can you let us know how they go?
With MXW attendance in Ballarat. Yeah.
I'm very interested to know that.
They put up a post the other day saying they were doing they'd sold 300 or 400 tickets or something.
Shit, that's like
wow.
275 more than
Ballarat can draw when you promote stuff there consistently.
Yeah, there you go. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, I watch the Ric Flair Jay Lethal segment that Todd alluded to earlier whenever I need a lift. That's a good one, Andy. And, that might be a good segment soon, is like, what things can we always go back and watch in wrestling? But I've got to get my chicken salad out, and it's a bit of a broad one this week, and it's how frequently we are getting matches and interactions that 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would have thought of as like dream scenarios, right? As much as we're shitting on AEW, Summer Blockbuster has Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay 2 next week. At All In Texas on early next month, we've got Okada versus Omega 5, winner takes all, 2 belts on the line. We've got Money in the Bank this weekend, and the women's has Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez and Julia and Stephanie Vaquer in it. The men's has Penta and a man who people think is Chad Gable and Andrade. These are... We're seeing freaking Mr. Iguana under a WWE banner, right? The amount of wild, enjoyable, fun stuff is always there. Constantly. I'm still catching up on, stuff that I missed from WrestleMania weekend because I forgot that they had that over 55s invitational. You know what I mean? Like, just the amount of crazy wrestling that is happening at such a pace that you've got to catch up with it 3 months later. It's insane. So I just want to, like, as much as we shit on 4-hour shows on back-to-back weeks just from one company as well as pay-per-views from the other company, like, it's worth acknowledging that some of the stuff that we get to see every week is incredible. And the 2015 wrestling fan in me, right, is so jealous of the 2025 wrestling fan that I get to be, because I remember getting back into wrestling and your options for really good wrestling was NXT and maybe some indies that you could try and catch if they got filmed properly. And that's not the case now. There is good wrestling everywhere.
Yeah, it was kind of like NXT and PWG.
Yeah.
Which would like once every 2 months or something.
That's right. You get PWG on a massive delay.
Yeah, you get the DVD like 3 or 4 months later.
I saw something
what were you saying, Tom?
this week. It was like a quote from Matt Jackson saying that if PWG was for sale, I'd consider it. I'm like, please no. Please no.
No. All right. Yeah, look, we do not want Matt Jackson spending more money on wrestling promotions. What we want is for your money to subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia. We don't care if you use your money or not. If you do for the Twitch channel, that's fantastic. You get Twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. But mostly,
like I did.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we're taking donations, is what I heard in that ad break. Look. But that's the thing. We're free. We do this for free because we love it. We love watching wrestling. We love the amount of good wrestling that's here, and that's why we're here every Thursday night, twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, approximately 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time every week, where you can catch us talking about the best things going on in wrestling here in Australia and around the world. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. You can do it here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you could give us a 5-star review, give us a rating, that really helps us get into more ears. You can follow us on the socials at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram. Personally, we're at Beast Eastman for Todd, at Lachlan Albert for me, at Jamie Apps Media for Jamie Apps. While we've got you, Jamie, can you tell us about Oz Wrestling Cards?
Yes. So the June pack is shipping now, headlined by Mikey Nichols, Robbie Thorpe, and Eugenie. So get the June pack.
Absolutely, some great names there. And speaking of picking stuff up, obviously you can pick up all of those Australian wrestling cards from Pario Magazine, as well as their awesome Pario Magazine merch. And we've got our own merch here at Wrestle Radio Australia. You can head on over to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia, find that merch there. The proceeds go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, 2 charities that support mental health here in Australia, which is very important to us. And if you're in a merch buying mood, Kick Out merch. Kickout.com.au has merch of your favorite Queensland wrestlers and wrestlers from around the country. If you are a wrestler and you're interested in getting your merch onto Kick Out merch, message them on their Instagram. Very good stuff going on on over there. Is there anything else that we have to add, gentlemen?
No.
Great, we're covering it. In that case, thank you so much for joining us here on Making Chicken Salad, because genuinely we love making this show. It is so much fun. So on behalf of Todd Eastman and Jamie Apps, I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
We here at Wrestle Radio Australia have had a lifelong dream since May to attend Crown Jewel. So we are excited to offer you all the chance to sponsor us in going over there for a holiday. Sorry, we mean to cover the event. Sponsor perks include your logo or name drawn on our shirts in a brand new Sharpie. Logo on shirts we intend to sell for profit. A firm handshake from Lockheed, gifts we buy at the airport on our way back from Perth. More cool stuff we'll think of later. Trust us, it'll be a smash hit. Plus, we are going to save you the hassle of going through a reputable site like GoFundMe. That's right, you can just send your money directly to us. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give us money.
This advertisement is a parody and should in no way be taken seriously as